It occurred to me that I've played a lot of Mario Party in my life. I've seen the series do some really creative things, as well as taking some strange turns, and I'm excited to see it going sort of back to its roots, both with Super Mario Party and the upcoming Superstars. So as someone who's played way too much Mario Party over the years, I'm excited to go into some of my personal favorite mechanics that have been introduced in the games over the entirety of the series. A couple of notes before I get started. First of all, I am a human being. I have biases. I grew up with the GameCube Mario Party games, so I do have a tendency to favor those. I definitely have a nostalgia bias. I hope that others who grew up with the GameCube games can appreciate that perspective, and that those who did not can forgive that perspective. That being said, those are not the only Mario Party games that I'm going to be giving the spotlight to today. I think some of my choices might surprise you. And secondly, as a related note, I have not played every single Mario Party game in the series. Here is a list of the games that I have never touched, therefore I am not going to be speaking about them today because I can't give them a fair perspective. If you've played some of these, let me know some of your favorite mechanics from them to help me fill in those gaps. Let's get into it. These are not in any particular order. First, we have duel minigames. These are high-stakes 1v1 minigames that happen when two players land on the same space, on a dual space, or use a dual item. Either one or both players will put their coins or stars on the line for a winner-take-all game. My favorite iteration of this is the same space duel, because it makes you think about the board in a different way than you're used to. You're not exactly thinking about what space you're landing on or how far away you are from that space. You actually have to think about where are the other players in relation to yourself. I feel like that's not something that comes up in traditional board games very often. It adds a different layer of strategy than some of the other mechanics in the game, and I think that's really cool. Duels have definitely taken me off guard in the past, like I didn't even think about the fact that I'm landing on someone else's space, and other times it plays a key role in my strategy. It's like, okay, I am going in this direction, not because there's a star space there, but because I'm about to land on Yoshi's space and I'm about to destroy Yoshi. It just felt very unique as a mechanic and very special when it happened, like I was getting this sort of rare event, even though it wasn't necessarily that rare. Still felt different, feels pretty cool. A duel also creates this strong tension between two particular players, because not only are you battling it out for this high risk and reward, but also the other players are just spectating. You've got an audience watching you. All eyes are on you, and any mistake that you make is bound to get a reaction. So you gotta be careful when there's duels around. Next mechanic I really like is day-night cycles. This was introduced in Mario Party 2's Horrorland, and in Mario Party 6 it was the main gimmick, where every 3 turns the game would change from daytime to nighttime and vice versa. Something I really like about this is it keeps the pace going. It's similar to how last 5 turns shakes things up, but it's more than that because it's happening throughout the entire game and it's every 3 turns. So even if everyone's getting really boring rolls and not much is happening, you can be sure that something interesting is gonna happen every 3 turns. And it adds a new layer of strategy because you have to be aware of the time of day. It's going to affect things like blocking off paths on the board, or changing the direction of paths, or making certain events different or new ones available that weren't available before. For example, the Boo House is only available at night, and Boo is adorable. No, Boo's a game-changing event because it allows you to steal coins or stars from other players. I also love Boo. And I really like that in Mario Party 6 I can play as Boo and go to the Boo House, just have a whole Boo party. Me and my Boo pals gonna wreck all the other players. In Mario Party 8 there's King Boo, and so it's like Boo's going to go visit a bigger Boo to get a star from. Quality stuff right there. And strategy aside, the day-night cycles enhance the atmosphere of the game. Not only does the game play differently, but the appearance of the board changes as well. The gameplay and the appearance kind of complement each other because it often looks spookier and scarier at nighttime, and it's also often more dangerous at nighttime because there's more opportunities to get your star stolen, whether it's by Bowser or other players. Day-night cycles exist in a lot of games, I think, for the same reason. I mean, think of Zelda, where the overworld becomes more dangerous at nighttime. Suddenly there's skeletons popping up all over the place trying to kill you. So the day-night cycles kind of build tension and keep you on your toes during the game. In Mario Party 6, even the mini games have day and night versions that that look totally different, and sometimes they even play differently, which is just the kind of wonderfully subtle detail that I really appreciate in these games. Next, I want to talk about Graffiti. Now, this was a mechanic in the infamous Mario Party 10, specifically in the Bowser Party mode. This is a unique one versus many mode where one player plays as Bowser and the other players are on a team against Bowser, which is just a really fun concept in itself, especially if you have that one friend who just wants to see the world burn. So that could be its own topic, but within this mode, there are certain events where the Bowser player can draw on the gamepad to try to trick the other players. In the Dragon Eel Treasure event, you draw over a selection of chests, the contents of which are only revealed to you on the gamepad. Your goal is to try to get the other players to pick a bad chest. On the same map, at certain junctions, you can draw over paths to try to influence which path the other players choose. This is really fun. It creates a lot of opportunity for deceptive strategy in your group. Like, let's say Bowser draws a happy face on a chest. Oh, that must be the bad one. They're trying to trick me. Oh, unless they knew I was gonna pick that, so that's actually the good chest, and so obviously I cannot pick the drink in front of you and all that. Not only is that a fun concept in itself, but the fact that the player is creating this graffiti and gets to draw whatever they want, it allows for inside jokes within the group that you're playing with, like Jackbox games kind of thing. For example, my family and I will draw Star Wars characters, Hamilton characters on these chests, which leads to hilarious conversations about what we all think of said characters. Now, obviously, this functionality is pretty specific to the Wii U because it relies on a touch screen with secret information for one player, but theoretically the DS could have done something like this, and maybe the Switch could, though it'd be kind of tricky to work that out. Mostly, I just love that this mechanic allows for the player to put their own perspective on a Mario Party game, and I'd love to see more opportunities for player creativity like this. I will say though, drawing is also used in some minigames, like Trace Cadets for example. It's less for creativity though, and more for testing a player's accuracy, but it still allows for that nice sort of tactile involvement with the game. Next up, last 5 turns, but specifically the chaotic last 5 turns. I'm talking the game changers here. In every Mario Party game, something happens when there's 5 turns left. Maybe the player in last place gets some sort of advantage, maybe the board changes in some way, but my favorite version of last 5 turns is the kind that just emanates pure chaos. For example, in Mario Party 5, there's a roulette of choices that can happen for last 5 turns, so every game feels a little different. It adds to the replayability of the game. Some of them are pretty chill, some of them are pretty crazy. For example, one of the choices is 5 star spaces. Suddenly there's stars everywhere, and it matters less whether you can get to one and more whether you can afford it. Suddenly the games are super high scoring and just wild. There's another option where suddenly every single space has an event on it. No space is safe, just something strange will happen, guaranteed, every single turn. And you don't even get to know what the spaces do. It's just a generic icon that vaguely hints at what the space is dealing with, like there's a coin, so something coin related is gonna happen, but you don't know what it is. That just leads to absolute craziness that I adore. In Mario Party 4, there's an option where the star is just free. It's free, here you go. I enjoyed those crazy changes that really just shake things up. Next up, allies. In Super Mario Party on the Switch, you're able to collect other Mario characters as allies by landing on an ally space. And these friends will give you advantages in your dice roll as well as certain minigames. This was just a fun new idea. I mean, it feels like you're recruiting party members in an RPG, and it's called Mario Party, so it feels fun to have this whole squad. You're not traveling the board all alone, but you're still not in a car with your friends. You know, you're still against your friends, but you have some other characters on your side. I think maybe they could be implemented a little better, like maybe there's a more interesting way to get allies than just landing on a space. I love when the allies do have special dialogue based on who's recruiting them. I'd love to see more of that added, where maybe every single character has special dialogue with each other, because that would make it a fun reason to replay the games and try to get new allies and see what they say, come up with new team-ups. Maybe there's certain allies that complement some characters better than others, like if Bowser and Bowser Jr. have certain dice blocks or exclusive items or something that are specific to their team-up that make it more advantageous. I just think this is the start of something really interesting that I would love to see explored more. Because when you have this huge roster of characters, like, it's cool to get to see them in action, even though I'm personally always gonna play as Boo, and I feel like most people just play as one character. So it's fun to collect the allies and make it feel like your group, your team is a little bit different every time. Maybe I'm Boo with Rosalina or Boo with Monty Mole. You don't know what's gonna happen. And the character dice blocks can be really helpful and add a new type of strategy to how you approach your turn. So yeah, I think allies are really fun. I can't wait to see if they stick around and if they're implemented differently in future games. Next mechanic I really enjoy is building the board. This was a big part of Mario Party 5, 6, 7, and DS, I believe. And this is when players have the ability to use their items on a space to give an effect to a particular space. And this is another great way to make the games replayable, because every game's a little bit different depending on what effects players choose to put on what spaces. Maybe in one game you have to worry about Luigi's bank space or Peach's star stealing space, and those spaces and their locations will change the way that players choose to move about the board. Certain paths become more dangerous than others. And it also just comes with this fun, satisfying sense of ownership. Like, that's my space you just landed on. My space. Kind of like Monopoly, but without the capitalism. Koopa Troopa aside, I mean, we all know he's a greedy capitalist. Next, we have battle minigames. These come up either randomly or by landing on a battle space. Either way, it's a big deal because all the players are forced to add coins to the pot and participate in a winner-takes-all minigame. Very similar to a duel, but with all of the players. One of my favorites is Bowser's Big Blast, a really heart-pounding, luck-based game. Trace Race is also really fun. Things like Snipe for the Picking, those target-based games are fun. There's a lot of really good ones. You play the game, the results are announced, and if you're the lucky winner, you get showered with coins. If you're not the winner, it's not great for you. You might get one coin. Sometimes it falls, it's really fun. All right, the next couple features are less mechanics and more like style choices that I enjoy. The first being overarching themes. The best example of this is Mario Party DS, where Bowser shrinks everybody, and so the overarching theme is that you're tiny and surrounded by oversized things. In this game's minigames, you'll be using cherries as hammer throws, or rolling around a giant sandbox, or running from a vacuum cleaner. And you'll visit boards like a giant music room or a giant library. And this was done to a lesser extent in other games as well, like Mario Party 5 had boards that were all themed on different dreams, and Mario Party 7 had boards that were all themed on different countries, which I never noticed as a kid, by the way. Like, no wonder the American board is so random. It's like you're playing baseball, you're shooting a movie, you're going to space. It's just a bunch of random stuff, and now I know, oh, it's supposed to be American stuff. Having a theme to tie the game together really helps the game stand out in such a long-running franchise. Mario Party DS is one that I still like to go back to every now and then. Super fun. Next feature, costumes. Come on, Nintendo, give us more costumes! I'm solidly team costume party. In Mario Party 2, all the characters wear costumes based on the board that they're in. For example, cowboy hats in Western Land or pirate hats in Pirate Land. The game also has these fun theatrical ending sequences where the winner of each game takes part in this silly, over-the-top movie scene based on the board. And these are just small, silly details that really enhance the experience and make it more fun. And who doesn't love new outfits for beloved characters? I mean, look at Mario Golf Super Rush. Look at Mario Odyssey. And I'm saying this as someone who plays as Boo, who doesn't wear clothes. But couldn't he get a hat though? You know, just a little cute little hat. Boo in a cowboy hat. This is what I need, Nintendo. And my last point, again, more of a style thing, is just charming details in the background of the boards. I'm talking about objects and characters that have no bearing on the game whatsoever, but that add to the immersion and the liveliness of it. Super Mario Party has some of the best examples of this. In the background of Mega Fruit Paradise, you can see a character lounging on a blooper-shaped floaty, a Koopa building blooper sandcastles, and just this beautiful water texturing where you can also see what's underwater, including the two pipes that play a big role in the map. You can just see how they're connected. In Gold Rush Mine, there's like a Bob-omb Ferris wheel where you can see the Bob-ombs excitedly waiting to get on. And the old games have so much charm too, like the Mario Party 5 Toy Dream, where there's these cuckoo clocks that as you walk on the spaces, the cuckoo bird pops out. Or the Mario Party 8 Shy Guy Perplex Express, where you can see various Mario enemies just hanging out on the train, having a good time. And actually it kind of is a mechanic on that one, because there's a certain board event where you can land on it and it'll ask you which train car has mouths on it, so it kind of rewards you for paying attention to little details. I could go on and on, there's so many examples of charming details, but what I really like about these and why they're really good for Mario Party is this is a game where there's a lot of waiting. So having those little details means that it's something for you to pay attention to while the other players are taking their turn, which is such an important aspect of a game where you do take turns and you do have to wait a while until you actually get to play. Even though I'm not always actively in the game, in boards like Mega Fruit Paradise, I'm still enjoying the atmosphere. I'm still picking out things in the background and saying, hey, like they didn't have to add that, but it's super cool that they did. So those were some of my favorite mechanics and features across the Mario Party series. What are some of your favorite features that you'd love to see return in future Mario Parties? Let me know in the comments below and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.